Hi there, it's Quilting Nerd with the second installment on quilting this Scrappy quilty art project. I really love how it developed last week, and let's try to finish it today. At least I hope I can get far away enough so you may get a glimpse how it will look like when finished. And just as a reminder, last week we were just dividing with different doodling patterns this very regular strappy structure, and we have tons of very nice organic patterns flowing. For those who haven't seen, I recommend see my last video from the last week. And I will continue changing the colors for different ones, and now let's change to this nice green. And I will show you how I want to finish it. So now that I have this big diagonal part that interrupts my line character or the vertical character of the patchwork, let's add actually something that will enhance it. So this time I will stay within the stripes added. So we will start with the background, and in this narrower stripe I will add double wishbones. So for that I will actually go somewhere in the middle and I will start quilting. Double wishbone means I have to leave space in between so I can come back and add second row of the wishbones. So now I am in the middle of my of the width of my unit, and now I will go back and try to place the loops between the previous ones. This part is done, and now I will go on with it on the other side. It may be a bit of challenging because we have this irregular end here, but let's see what we can do here. So I never done that before, so now I am kind of winging it. I will start again in the middle of my stripe, in the middle of the width more or less. Lock the thread, and I have more space here, so I will go actually here, and this part we will fill later on. Let's remember about the wider spacing. those in more or less regular intervals, and that's it. And like that, I have a double row of wishbones hiding under my other element. So now on this one is dominated more by blue, so let's go with this turquoise blue and let's see what we can create here. In this part I will add first an echol line, so I will just aim, I will not use ruler here. This has pretty much an organic character. I turned it around because it started pulling the weight. And because we have here on this side this diagonal part, I will just keep adding those lines. You don't have to be straight. It's actually better if they are a little bit irregular. This is the beauty of quilting on multiple colored patches with tons of background and patterns. Just like that, we are done on one side. And now we will repeat the same process on the other side. When weaving the straight lines or even smooth wavy lines, the trick is not to look at the needle, only to find the reference point. So I'm actually checking where I am going and what's the distance between the lines. And then actually I can aim it pretty good, and my lines are acceptable straight. have very nice contrast in the directions of the lines. So even if the quilting itself is not visible, which is very good for us, especially for beginners, it helps you to relax. When the light will illuminate our patchwork, the texture will show incredibly well and will show the overlaying nature of this work. So that was the second one. And now let's move to the white one. And there, let me see, we will need some dark color for balance in this case. So let's go risky and let's go with the dark green. In this area, on this white background, I have actually quite a lot of space, so we can go for nice echo-based designs. And I haven't used paisley, so why not? Let's do that. What a wonderful texture. So I will now actually first go here to the side because I want to change the direction of the paisleys. I will have some odd spaces I will have to fill, but that's perfect for demonstration purposes too. End of the bobbin thread. And we can continue. Oh, the texture is wonderful. So I would repeat the same part in this little section. Let me do that first before I will show you the next sections. And there probably I will switch again to this time this kind of blue, and we will work on another stripy scrappy unit. Now we will work on the middle scrappy element, and again I want to use something that it's enhancing the directionality of the stripe, but I used the straight lines outside, so now I can simply use gentle wavy lines, and I didn't change my color. I stayed with the dark green, so dark green it is. If I will come too close, I will just go back. It's all about the texture and this elongated shape. Again, I will do the same in this small area, and then we will move to our white parts, so the background. The next background unit is a little bit wider, and there I would like to simply use it for some negative quilting, and here I will use regular swirls with hooks in a nice green color. Differentiate it from the other swirls, I will make them relatively small and tight. As always, it is good to make a short break from time to time, and let's analyze once more what's happening. So by using this strong color on the very light background, I'm actually making background to compete with the Scrappy dominant units of my patchwork. So they are becoming like an equal partner in this play. It's different because the color play is less strong, but the texture and color combination is much stronger. On the units that are made from scraps, the quilting just adds the texture, then the color of the fabric is the more dominant one. So it is a very nice clash of the pattern visibility, the quilting pattern visibility, versus just the texture and light reflection on the color. So there are so many possibilities how you can play this and hide the one and enhance the other. And right now here I am just trying to tone down a little bit the scrappy units and enhance a little bit more the background to make them more equal partners. So this part is done. Again, I will finish this little bit in between before I will move to the next one. Once more, sometimes when I explain things, it may sound like I actually know what I am talking about and everything was planned ahead of time. Again, it is not the case. Very often I do things that feel right, but I start to understand what I'm actually doing and what was the instinct and the intuition telling me to do later on when I see the bigger effect. So there is no a big plan and a big vision. For me, I am not this kind of quilter. I take my sandwich and most of the time I am thinking what could look good and I start. And then I just let it run wild. Maybe not wild, but I stop controlling it from a certain point, because as my vision is, I learned to keep my vision kind of loose and very general, and then let it develop into something more complete as the project progresses. So all of it is extremely intuitive. I do not have a rigid plan how to progress. I allow it to happen. So right now we have the upper and lower border left and one side stripping it. So this element I will not show you how to quilt because I will use again the lines just for the symmetry. And here I will, because it's relatively light color, again I have to stick to something darker, and because the last one here was green, I will go with the, again with this blue, and let's see how I will quilt this strip in a moment. So in a way this is one of the last sections which we have left, and in this white strip on the edge of my quilting sandwich I will quilt something which I called fantasy or magical feather. I used this name once when I was presenting to you video series 24 strips, 24 designs some months back, and it consists of wavy line and tooth plums. So it's a tooth feather thing with some swirls and extra embellishments. So what I do is I'm starting with a sinusoidal wave. So I'm quilting it from edge to edge. And I will allow me to extend it actually into this upper border. You need just for the fun of it and keeping it a little bit asymmetrical. I am closing it with a loop and then I'm traveling back. And because it's a dark thread, I will try to be precise, but I will not stress out about it if I will miss the line. Like for example here. But I will be quilting here my feather plumes, so I will have a chance to cover it with extra quilting. So now let's start first one with a swirly element. And now let's if the plume is large enough, I can add larger elements there. It's not a problem. And this feather is so beautiful because it adjusts to any available space I have. So I can actually echol here. And then add one more embellishment. These are large elements. It will be extremely dominant, so it will fight for the attention with the stripe unit. Here I'm dividing my space into two, and I'm just putting the feathers, the plumes to the half of it, plums, the plumes, always the same. And here I can add again such a nice swirly element, so I don't have to squeeze too much. So a little bit more. I love this kind of feather because it has so much flexibility. I have enough space to add some decorations. And suddenly I have this very organic structure here. So that looks nice. Extremely dominant, which is probably not bad. Let's see how it will look like at the end. But we had already one feather here, so I felt I need something on the side. So now what we have left with are the top and bottom border, and I will quilt them the same way. I will use something a little bit less dominant in color. I will use this time this pale blue. We are approaching end, and it feels good to have something done after last days were not really full of inspiration or creativity. So what I'm doing now here is I'm adjusting the size of the element, but what I will do is this square spiral. I just had to adjust the size to accommodate for the feather. I will do the same here. And now it will be very, very straightforward. It's also one of my favorite designs. It takes some concentration, but once you find your rhythm, it's actually very easy. It is adjustable in the size. So I can make those elements wider or more narrow. At the end, what counts, it's the overall texture. And I like keeping them slightly different. It adds a little bit of more whimsical look. Not so perfect. I prefer something that will force your eye to look for the movement and checking what's going on, because it looks regular but it's not. So you will follow the shapes and check which one is slightly off. Why the pattern looks so similar but then it is not. So those slight differences and what some people call imperfections will actually keep you engaged and just look at it. And that's what makes our little hobby into art, even if it's art only for us. This design is also in my booklet that I hope will be soon available to you. The English version is almost done. I just have to add some QR codes with the links to my videos and few words. I'm still working on the German translation because I am in Germany and some of my quilting ladies expressed the wish to have it as well. And so this design is also there for you to practice. And I will quilt exactly the same way the bottom. I really like how it looks like here. It's really nice. I will quilt the bottom border exactly the same way. And then I will show you how it looks like when the quilting is done. Here it is, the complete quilt project. So we see in all detail the very nice texture that we have and the variations and the different directions of lines, the borders with different character, and you see the adjustment to the existing previous quilting. I especially like the one here around the feather. It all fits very nicely. And like that, I have a very nice wall hanging that I made only from my scraps. I hope you like it. Hopefully see you soon.